What's up, homies? This is the Killer Nacho again, and I had a battle yesterday, and that was good enough for me to post. And this is a battle with headwing45, and he is from the TPX chat, and let's get it on. So anyway, I lead with this Mion shoe thing, which I kind of always wanted to make since I've seen it used, since it's a pretty nice lead. I just go for the fake out because it's a pretty nice move. It's going to do some damage to Politoed, although not a whole lot, but what can you do? So I'm just going to go for the U-turn now, and he switches into Zapdos. I guess he was kind of thinking I might go for the high jump kick, but I know that he had a lot of things on his team that could take it, so I decided just to go for U-turn, and it ended up being pretty nice for me. So yes, I go for U-turn, and now I go out into my not Uber, because it's not an Uber. What is this thing? I forget its name. Oh crap. Well, you know what it is. It's like the third thing of the legendary trio. It's actually, it has really great stats. The problem is that it has such poor defensive typing that, it can get raped by a lot of things in the metagame, unfortunately. But anyway, I decided to try him out, just because, you know, he seems like a pretty cool poke. I mean, he is actually really cool, but yeah, so this is actually a Choice Scarfer, and it kind of works because he has pretty nice special stats. And he goes out into Deoxys defense, and something else that isn't Uber, so yeah, he's going to go for the Toxic, which is a pretty obvious play, actually, I guess, since that's pretty much the one thing Deoxys-d can really do well, and he actually pushed the Toxic on Sal, which kind of sucks, just because Sal is meant to be like a pretty bulky threat, but what can you do? But, yeah. So I set up the Stealth Rocks, which is never a bad thing to set up, and he goes out into Politoed, and I decide, you know what, maybe I'll try to stay in and go for an Earthquake, just because it's a stab, physical move and stuff, and it might do some decent damage to Politoed. Not to mention I don't really care much about Sal at this point, but yeah, then he goes Encore, which is ouch. I mean, that's a pretty interesting move to have on a lead Politoed. So he locks me into Stealth Rocks, and that means I have to switch. So it actually is a double switch. He goes into Scizor, I guess not predicting my switch. Well, he probably was predicting a switch, he just wasn't predicting Gyarados. So this is actually a really nice double switch for me, because I get the Intimidate on Scizor, and yeah, it's pretty nice. So I go for Stone Edge. I was actually kind of expecting him to switch, but instead of U-turn, because you know, I guess he might have been afraid to take damage on Scizor. You know, a stab waterfall in the rain would definitely hurt. And I know that he had both Zapdos and Vaporeon in his team, so I decided just to go for the Stone Edge. He ends up staying in, so I get some damage on that Scizor, which is never a bad thing, and now he just U-turns into Zapdos, so I have to switch now because I don't want to take a Thunder, obviously, because it's a Rain Team Zapdos, and yeah, he does go for the Thunder, so that's a pretty nice prediction for me, and thank God I still have Sal and he didn't die. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm going to go for the Ice Beam, even though I'm 99% sure he'll switch, and he does, so yeah, my Ice Beam is going to do absolutely nothing to Vaporeon, because Vaporeon resists Ice Beam and is, you know, one of the bulkiest things in existence. And as you can see, my Ice Beam does about the same as Leftovers Recovery, so not a whole lot at all. And this Poison is starting to rack up and hurt Sal. Anyway, so I'm going to switch now, because I don't want Sal to, like, I don't know, whatever. So I go on to the Force, because I figure, you know what, I don't think Vaporeon can do a whole lot to me, and, you know, I have this is a Calm Minder, which is a pretty awesome Pokemons. However, I knew he'd switch here. I had such a great... That was a great prediction. Prediction of the battle right here. I decided to go Focus Blast, predicting Scizor, and it ended up being great for me, because I know he couldn't resist sending out Scizor against a Reuniclus. It's like the one threat Reuniclus has on his team. So that was pretty awesome prediction for me, because I avoid the Pursuit and the U-turn. Of course, I make a pretty bad play a turn later. He goes out into Latios, and for some reason I didn't think Draco Meteor would do a whole lot, which is a stupid, stupid thing. Of course, a Choice Specs Draco Meteor is going to do a whole lot, and obviously this thing is Choice Specs now, and he's going to be a 2-8 KO. I was kind of staying in, just hoping maybe he'd overpredict and switch, or maybe miss with Draco Meteor and I could recover, but it doesn't end up being that way, and he kills me. But the good news is I'm 99% sure he specs, and he has -4 special attack, so I go out into Doom Cannon, because he can't do squat to a Steel type right now, and I am just going to set up, because I have the Rock Polish, because Doom Cannon is of Doom. Indeed. So, my Doom Cannon is going to go Ice Punch, because I have Ice Punch on this Doom Cannon, and that's going to be super effective against Zapdos, and hopefully a KO. And what do you know, it is a KO. So, no Thunder or Heat Wave for you. Actually, probably not Heat Wave, because that would be stupid on a Rain Dance team, but whatever. Anyway, I go Ice Punch, finish him off. So, he goes out on the Toad, and I have the Thunder Punch, but I'm pretty sure it's not going to kill just because this Toad is probably really bulky, and it doesn't. And he goes for the Scald, and I'm just kind of hoping it doesn't burn, but of course it does even better than burn. It crits and kills me. And I don't think that Scald would have killed me if that went for the crit, so that really sucks, because I could have finished off the Politoed and done some decent damage to Vaporeon, because that's probably what he'd go into after that. Anyway, so yeah, he kills me with a crit, and that's kind of lame. So I'm just going to go out into Mienshao and Fake Out, which is a pretty good move because it gets some nice damage on Politoed. And I see that he doesn't have Zapdos anymore, so I'm just going to go for the high jump kick because I know it'll get some nice damage on pretty much anything. And it does kill the Politoed, and that is freaking awesome. So he's going to go back into Latios, but which is faster than me, so I have to switch, and I can't U-turn. So I just go out into Sal, basically because, you know what, Sal? You're the most useless thing left on my team, and I'm sorry, man. You're cool, and I love you, Sal, but now you're dead. Alright, so he's going to go Psyshock, which would normally be a pretty nice play for me, because Sal is a physically bulky thing, and Psyshock actually does, you know, based on defense, which is a pretty interesting ability for a move, actually. It's a special move that relies on defense of the user, so... it's still a 2-hit KO, though, because of my poison, and, yeah, so I can go out into not Uber because I am Scarfed, and I know that thing is Specs, and I was just kind of hoping he'd stay in and try to, you know, damage me, but you know what, he wasn't going to stay in just because, you know, the Psyshock wouldn't have killed me anyway, but, yeah, so I just go for the Draco Meteor, and I know that'll do a lot to anything. He goes out back into Deoxys Defense, and that's going to be a 2-hit KO, so I'm just going to take it, because I just don't want to deal with Deoxys Defense anymore. And, yeah, so it's dead. Problem is now that his Latios might be able to take a Draco Meteor at -4 special attack, so I don't want to risk it because, you know, that thing is like the last check I have to Latios, and if it dies, I'll have no chance of killing Latios. So I just go out into Mienshao, basically as death fodder. He ends up missing, which is pretty funny. It doesn't really matter too much because all I get to do is annoying Fake Out because I still need to have something as death fodder to get a safe switch back into Kairuam. That's his name, isn't it? Kairuam? Something like that. But anyway, I'm going to go switch back into my Ice Dragon of Death thing that's not an Uber, and, yeah, so I'm just going to go for Draco Meteor again. If he switches into Vaporeon, I'm pretty sure Draco Meteor will still do quite a lot. So he does go into Vaporeon, so I do get the Draco Meteor off again. So that's going to do some nice damage to Vaporeon, and I was thinking, you know what? After seeing this damage, this might be a 2-hit KO, so the Protect is like the obvious move, is like the complete obvious move here because the Leftovers recovery, so I make a great play and switch out into Gyarados. And that was amazing for me because he does end up going with the Protect, and I get a free switch into Magikarp, my awesome Gyarados. And he switch. So, I know he's probably going to Wish here, so I decided to go for the, actually, no, I was actually thinking he'd switch into Latios again. So I go for the Stone Edge. He ends up staying in and Wishing, so that was not a good play for me. And now I figure, you know what, either the Protect or the Latios, I mean, that's really the prediction of the game right here. If I make this prediction right, I win. And I do predict that Protect, which is amazing for me, and I go for the Dragon Dance. He could have gone into Latios there to get, like, the full heal on Latios, and that would have really hurt, because then I would have had to basically sacrifice Gyarados. But he does Wish on his Vaporeon, and that is freaking amazing. And here I just want to go with the safe play and go for another Dragon Dance because I know I need 2 Dragon Dances to outspeed Latios, which is why if he went into Latios that turn it would have killed me. So I do go for the second Dragon Dance, and I know I kind of knew he would go Toxic. And I so wanted to use Taunt, but, you know, Dragon Dance was the safe play, because now I have pretty much the match guaranteed. I can Taunt this turn, which means he won't be able to do his Wish Protect shenanigans anymore. And now I can just go for the Stone Edge, because, obviously, I'm thinking this thing has Water Absorb. Interesting fact, though, it does not. He actually said after the battle this was Hydration Vaporeon, which is pretty interesting, just because you'd never expect anyone to think to attack Vaporeon with a water move anyway, because of Water Absorb. But not to mention, in a rain team, Hydration Vaporeon can be pretty awesome, because then it, you know, doesn't have to worry about status like Toxic itself, which makes it a pretty even better Toxic Staller. There you go. But anyway, so now that he can't wish and protect, Stone Edge is a 2-hit KO, so it's taken down. And his last Pokemon is Latios, which I now outspeed thanks to Dragon Dance. And I'm not even going to risk going for Stone Edge because at this point it's weak enough, so I know my Waterfall on the Rain with +2 attack can KO. So good game. Headwing45 was very close. You have a very nice Rain Dance team, or Rain team, actually, because you don't even use Rain Dance, you use Politoed. But it's a very nice team, so very nice battle. I kind of liked using the Pokemon I use because a lot of them were new, actually. I used quite a few Pokemon I just created because I just wanted to test stuff out. But it was a really fun match. Anyway, so today's question of the day, thanks to, I mean, if you take a look at this battle, actually there's quite a few Pokemon that were Uber, or should be Uber in some people's minds at one point. Like, I was using Karuam, which isn't Uber for a good reason, actually. I mean, it's really not Uber. But some people could consider it Uber just because of the stats. And my opponent had Deoxys Defense and Latios, which some people could consider Uber. So it made me think about a nice question of the day for today. Taking a look at the current Uber list that Smogon has, which Pokemon on that list could you see coming to OU? I mean, I'm not saying that any of them deserve to be OU, because most of them have a really good reason for being Uber, but which one do you think is least Uber, is what I'm saying? Which one could survive in OU, possibly? Blaziken is a pretty good choice for this, in my opinion, but I'm actually going to go with Manaphy, just because I love Manaphy. And I really think it got kind of screwed over in this generation because of Drizzle Politoed, and yeah, I don't think it would be anywhere near as good as it is without Drizzle Politoed. So, if Drizzle goes, I might even think Manaphy could come back without much of a problem. I mean, yeah, Manaphy's still pretty damn good, but I just don't think he'd be as powerful with Drizzle. And there are a lot of Pokemon that are OU this generation after going Uber last generation that are doing just fine, like Garchomp, for example. Garchomp's in this metagame. Salamence, Deoxys-d defense. Oh yeah, and Mew. Freaking Mew's UU. What the hell? But yeah. So leave a comment about which Uber Pokemon you think is least Uber. And yeah, see you guys later. Rate, comment, subscribe, and peace out, homies.